Welcome back to our course on Python. Now we will study inheritance in classes. A child class can inherit from a parent class just as any child inherits from his parents. Now let's create our parent class, animals. Let's introduce our constructor here, which we use to initialize the variables, and introduce two other arguments, which are the name of the animal and the movement. So we write move here. Let's assign name, the variable name, by using self.name equals name. This assigns the variable self.name to the attribute name, which will be passed on creating our first instance. Similarly, we write self.move equals move. Let's introduce another variable here. We write self.alive equals true. This is because all animals are alive. This is our parent class. Let's introduce our first child class, which is mammals. This will inherit from our class animals. We write it as such. Our colon at the end. And we write pause for now. Let's create our first instance, dog. Say dog. By assigning it to the child class mammals and giving it the attributes of the parent class. So we have our name is dog and move is walk. Again, we create our instance by assigning it to the child class and using the attributes of the parent class. This is the method we used here. Let's have another instance, whale. We created by calling the child class and introducing the attributes of the parent class. So whale is the name and swim is the move. Now let's have our run just to make sure we have no errors. Okay, let's go to the child class here. We just write a note here. This is our child class. Instead of pass, we will introduce a function, define, give birth, which prints whenever it is called a placeholder self.name, which is the name of the mammal, gives birth. Just make sure we have no errors here, but nothing is printed, no output, because no methods were called. So let's have our first output here by using print a string a placeholder dog.name can placeholder dog.move, and let's have a run. A dog can walk. Let's have another print here. Dog dot give birth, and have another run here. A dog can walk. A dog gives birth. Now let's study or have a close look. What is the difference between this print inside the class and this print outside the class? We can conclude that self is only introduced inside the class, while outside the class we use the name of the object dog and not self. So, to access the attribute of the object inside the class, we use self. To access the attribute of the object outside the class, we use the name of the object itself. This none here is printed because the function give birth already contains a print inside it. The print here has the syntax instance dot method of the child class. For a full statement, let's print our f and placeholder dog dot name can another placeholder dog dot move. Let's continue our statement. Let's say and it have a quotation here. We close the quotation here, have a comma, just introduce and equals quotations, and continue on the other line here. Dog dot give birth. And let's have our run. Dog can walk and a dog gives birth. So in our example here, we have a parent class, a child class. We created our instance by introducing the child class and the arguments of the parent class. Once the instance is created, it can call any method from the child class and activate any attribute from the parent class. Name and move here. We can do the same thing with whale or any other instance we create. Whale dot give birth. And have our run. A whale gives birth is our last executed statement. We can simply introduce another class, another child class, so a parent can have more than one child class. A class of non-mammals, which inherits from the class animals. Of course, non-mammals lay eggs. And you can have our print self.name lays eggs. Let's cancel here our mammals instances and create a new instance of fish from the child class non-mammals. Give it the attributes concerning the parent class, which are the name, fish, and the move, swim. Once the instance is created, it has the ability to access the parent attribute, fish.say move, fish.alive, and it has the ability to call the child class method. Let's introduce print here. Similarly, let's introduce print here. And let's save our run. Yes, fish.move is swim, fish.alive is true. and fish that lay eggs is a fish lay eggs. And this concludes with our video on class inheritance in Python.